You didn't find this by accident. Your quantum jump key just came online. If reality has felt thin at the edges, if patterns glitch, if time stretches or snaps back on itself, that isn't instability, it's activation. This isn't fantasy or escapism, and it isn't about traveling to a different world. It's selection. You stop waiting for life to change and start choosing which already existing version of your life you observe into form. Right now, your perception is widening, catching overlaps, déjà vu clusters, impossible coincidences, dreams that brief you before the day arrives. The shift feels uncanny because your nervous system is recalibrating for coherence, not compliance. In this transmission, you'll learn to recognize the signal, stabilize your field, and work with time like pages you can turn, not a line you must follow. By the end, you'll know how to read the signs, lock the frequency, and step into the timeline that matches who you are. Here's what activation actually is. Not a superpower you earn through effort, but a threshold your awareness crosses when the noise drops and the signal becomes unmistakable. It lands like memory, like something you've always known but couldn't quite name. One day you're trying to make things happen. The next you notice the world meeting you halfway, reorganizing around a quieter certainty inside you. The air feels cleaner. Your timing improves. Conversations line up as if they were cued. You sense a subtle, stable current carrying you where pushing used to fail. That current isn't luck. It's your selector coming online. The part of you that chooses what you observe into experience instead of begging the old version of life to cooperate. At first, it can feel unnerving. Old desires fade while new ones arrive fully formed, minus the drama. Sleep turns into a workshop. Dreams run long and specific, handing you scenes that later appear in daylight with suspicious accuracy. You catch time doing strange tricks. Hours compress into minutes when you're aligned. Minutes stretch into hours when you resist. Electronics glitch when your emotions spike. Streetlights stutter as you pass. Animals track you with unusual attention, as if they're reading the field around you. Your body becomes both instrument and broadcaster. A prickle across the shoulders before a phone rings. Warmth in the chest when a decision is true. A tightness at the brow when you're forcing. That isn't woo. That's signal literacy. The first language your system speaks when it stops performing for the old map and starts responding to the field you're actually in. Some of what we teach can't live on YouTube. Join our free newsletter at the link in the description. Enter your email, and for a limited time, you'll also receive a free ebook with all the knowledge to go deeper. Recognition is the key. It isn't about forcing a state or stacking ever more routines. It's about noticing that your perception is widened and letting it stabilize before you meddle. Think of an old radio tuner. You don't push the music into existence. You reduce the static until the station snaps into clarity. Activation feels like that snap. The less you strain, the clearer it gets. In practice, it shows up as reliable tells woven through ordinary days. You'll notice clusters of déjà vu, not isolated blips, but strings like re-entering a conversation you're certain you've already had. You'll drift into micro-trances where you stare at nothing and realize you weren't checked out. You were listening to a quieter channel. You'll experience clean luck. Not lottery wins, but sudden, precise alignments that answer problems without your usual effort. Your body's yes-no signals will become obvious. Yes opens your breath and softens your gaze. No hardens the jaw and narrows your focus. And you'll find yourself knowing a beat ahead of events, like your life has a metronome you can finally hear. A helpful reframe. Activation doesn't make you special. It makes you responsible. The world hasn't changed as much as your interface with it has. You're not suddenly above cause and effect. You're simply more aware of the menu of causes you can select. That awareness can tempt you into performance, performing quantumness, chasing signs to prove to yourself you're advanced, retelling your anomalies as a way to feel safe. Resist that trap. The point isn't to collect wonders. It's to stabilize a way of being that doesn't need constant proof. Signs are invitations, not trophies. If you keep chasing them, you'll miss the simple decisions that lock coherence in place. What you eat, when you rest, who you answer, how you begin your day. There's a practical way to navigate the early phase. Label what is happening in plain language. My perception is wider. I'm sensing options I couldn't sense before. Ground the body, walk, drink water, eat simple foods, finish one small task completely before starting another. Keep promises to yourself with almost annoying consistency. Coherence grows where self-trust grows. Treat sleep like a skill, not an afterthought. Dream recall improves when the nervous system feels safe. When fear bubbles up, don't argue with it, escort it. Say, "Of course you're nervous, the map is updating." Fear loses power when it's acknowledged and given a job. Watch with me, don't steer. You'll also notice a change in attention. What used to hook you now sounds like static. What used to seem boring becomes magnetic because it carries clean signal. Follow the clarity, not the drama. Drama demands energy and offers little back. Clarity is quiet and generous. As you pay attention this way, people will react. Some will feel instantly familiar, as if you'd met elsewhere or in a different version of events. Others will drift without conflict. Let that happen. You're not abandoning anyone. You're respecting the new signal. The old rooms were tuned for an older station. Staying there to prove loyalty only jams your reception and confuses the people who actually need the frequency you're learning to hold. One last calibration for this phase. Don't go hunting for exotic experiences. The extraordinary will find you when you're steady enough to keep your footing. Your job is to become easy to read by yourself. Think in terms of baselines. Sleep baseline, movement baseline, information baseline. Bring the averages up a touch every day. Activation thrives in coherence. Coherence isn't perfection, it's rhythm. If you can keep a rhythm, the field keeps meeting you. And when it does, selection, conscious, deliberate selection, stops feeling like a miracle and starts feeling like basic hygiene. You notice the version of you that's already true and you choose it. From here, the biggest misconception to retire is the idea of travel. You're not going anywhere. You're learning to select. You're not hopping between universes like changing trains. You're in the same room, tuning the lights. Selection is a function of awareness, not distance. When activation lands, your question shifts from "how do I get there" to "which version of me am I observing right now?" In the old map, you forced outcomes. In the new map, you choose which already present version to observe into experience. Imagine your day as a room with many dimmers. One brightens the part that procrastinates, another lifts the one that moves cleanly. One brings up the calm voice, another spotlights the appeaser. All exist at once. Selection is the micro moment when your hand slides one dimmer up while the others fall away. You don't need a new switchboard only to know which slider belongs to the life you mean to live. Practice looks simple. You're about to send a desperate message to revive a stalled opportunity. Chest tight, jaw hard, vision narrow. That pattern belongs to the timeline where you chase and shrink. You pause, breathe, and act from the state that doesn't beg. Words change. Timing changes. Outcomes often change because you stopped selecting the self who negotiates against you. Another case. You dream of hosting a vivid conversation. Morning brings echoes. An article, an invite, a room becoming available. Old map. Coincidence. Selection. Reconnaissance. Take one grounded step from the state you glimpsed. Reserve the room. Outline a theme. Invite 3 people. Small, clean moves stabilize the chosen version. Selection also ends arguments with endings. The version that stays too long shows up as heaviness, dread before sleep, the morning frown. These aren't punishments. They're indicators showing which dimmer you're gripping. Release it and endings self-assemble. A project completes. A conversation closes kindly. The next room appears because you're not jamming the door with habit. A useful sequence helps. First, state. Notice what's present in the body without commentary. Then signal. Feel the somatic yes or no. Then selection. Take one action from the open, sane state. Then stabilization. Repeat tomorrow until that state becomes a baseline. No theatrics required. Rhythm, not drama, makes a new normal. Common traps: performance, trying to look high frequency instead of being honest, sign chasing, turning anomalies into a scavenger hunt, and conversion, dragging others onto your station. Rest when you're tired, treat signs as invitations, and let curiosity, not pressure, carry those around you. Compassion keeps the field clean. Is this just placebo? Let correlation persuade you. Choose one behavior your already there version does daily. 15 minutes of focused craft, a walk before screens, water on waking, one decisive call. Keep it 7 days and watch how the day reorganizes. Better timing, cleaner conversations, decisions that used to take an hour landing in a minute. Attention changes behavior. Behavior changes outcomes. Identity follows action. Guardrails keep the signal steady. Make the environment a touch quieter than your habits demand. Put your phone in another room for the first hour. Write one non-negotiable on a card where your hand will touch it. End the evening with a quick look back. Which version did I feed today, and how did life mirror it? On identity. Selection sticks when it's identity-based, not outcome-based. I am the person who keeps promises to myself beats, I hope I hit this target. Forcing keeps you identified with the struggler. Allowing is disciplined tuning. Choose the state that makes the action obvious, then take the smallest obvious action. The field responds to what you are, not what you announce. You'll know selection is stabilizing when luck gets specific. Emails echo your morning line. People mention ideas you nearly voiced. Time stops arguing. Clean coincidences replace fireworks, and edges between versions blur. Small repeats, uncanny overlaps, scenes that feel half-remembered. Those seams between probability streams aren't threats. They're data. Read them. Carry this forward. Travel is a story your mind tells to justify effort. Selection is the reality your body feels when you stop forcing and start tuning. As tuning improves, seams appear. Next, we'll explore why déjà vu clusters, time skips, and uncanny repetitions are signposts, not accidents. The seams show themselves when you stop trying to travel and start selecting. They arrive as déjà vu that doesn't feel like a glitch but a breadcrumb, as if a scene from your life replays with one frame nudged to the left. They arrive as conversations you're sure you've already had. Same opening line, same coffee cup on the table, same punchline half a second before it lands. A friend mentions a book you dreamt about the night before. A stranger repeats a phrase you wrote in your journal that morning. Objects go missing and reappear in the only place you swore you checked. Meetings move by a day and suddenly everything lines up. These are quantum bleeds, overlapping edges from neighboring probability streams surfacing in your awareness because your selector is active. Treat them like indicators, not omens. Coincidence is random. Coherence clusters. Pay attention to the density and precision. One odd repeat can be noise. 3 in quick succession with unnerving specificity is a pattern. Your mind will try to make it mystical or terrifying. Don't let it. Name what's happening in plain language. I'm perceiving overlap. That alone steadies the nervous system. The bleed isn't here to spook you, it's here to give you a choice. It's your life tapping the glass to say this version is available if you stabilize it. When a bleed lands, do 3 things. First, notice without rushing to interpret. Slow the breath by a beat and feel the body. Open or clenched, warm or brittle. Second, ask which version of you this belongs to. If the repetition carries relief, ease, a sense of clean inevitability, it likely belongs to the timeline you've been leaning toward. If it spikes anxiety, pulls you into proving, or demands performance, it may be the echo of a version you've outgrown. Third, take one grounded action that would be normal for the version you mean to select. Not a grand gesture. Send the one email, tidy the desk, keep the promise to walk before screens. Selection locks through simple integrity. You'll see different flavors of bleed. There's the social bleed. You meet someone and talk like you're catching up, not starting. There's the place bleed. A city you've never visited feels mapped under your feet. You turn corners like you remember them. There's the work bleed. A problem resolves the moment you stop forcing and follow the odd but obvious lead that appears right after a déjà vu. And there's the narrative bleed. You catch yourself saying a line that felt scripted long before you spoke it. None of these require you to announce anything or change your life in a rush. Your job is to read the signal and make the smallest honest move that keeps you in coherence. A quick word on numbers and symbols. You'll notice repeats, times on clocks, recurring animals, phrases, songs that crest at exactly the right moment. Don't build a religion out of them. Use them like traffic signs, helpful for navigation, useless as a destination. If a sign appears, respond with steadiness. Ask, what decision was I considering in that moment? Does this nudge align with the version I'm selecting? If yes, take the next ordinary step. If no, let the sign pass like weather. Chasing signs is how you leak energy. Recognizing them is how you conserve it. Grounding matters here. Bleeds sharpen when you're underslept, overcaffeinated, or flooded with other people's urgency. That doesn't mean you're more spiritual. It means your filters are thin. Think of a camera shooting wide open. Beautiful light, but easy to blow out the frame. Close the aperture a touch. Eat simply. Drink water before opinions. Move your body in ways that bring rhythm back. Walks, slow breathing, even washing dishes with attention. Rhythm is how you keep the channel clear without getting yanked by every flicker. You'll also notice that bleeds tend to cluster around transition thresholds. New projects, departures, first honest conversations, moments you choose not to betray yourself. That's because selection is live. The field is showing you previews. Let correlation teach you. Keep a small log, nothing elaborate, date, hint, state, tiny action taken. Within a week, you'll see that the more calmly you respond, the more precise the overlaps become. The brain loves salience. Once you show it what matters, it gets better at finding it. That's not magical thinking. That's attention learning to discriminate signal from noise. People around you may feel the shift, too. Some will say, I was just thinking of you, more often. Some will find you lucky. Others will bristle because your timing no longer matches the room's stress cycle. Offer compassion. You're not superior. You're running a different rhythm. Don't evangelize, demonstrate. Selection is contagious when it's quiet. The cleaner your field, the less you need to convince anyone of anything. Here's the pitfall to avoid. Turning bleeds into a test you can fail. You didn't miss your chance because you didn't decode a sign in time. Probability isn't a single door that slams. It's a set of doors that keep appearing as long as you stay coherent. If you feel the old panic, what if I messed it up? Pause and return to the body. Ask the only question that matters. What would the chosen version do next, right now, in this room? Do that. The future doesn't need you to perform, it needs you to match. As bleeds become familiar, your sense of time loosens. Scenes arrive out of order but make sense in the gut. You remember things that haven't happened yet the way you remember turning left at a familiar street. Minutes thicken, hours thin, days stack like cards you can shuffle. You're not breaking time, you're learning its texture. Next, we'll explore how to work with that texture. How to bookmark states, dilate useful minutes, and navigate block time without losing your footing. When the seams start showing, time stops behaving like a conveyor belt and starts feeling like a room with many doors. You notice hours that fly past because everything clicks, and minutes that stretch thin because you're out of tune. This isn't time breaking, it's you learning its texture. Think of block time. Moments aren't a line you're dragged across, but pages you can turn, revisit, and read in a different light. The more coherent your state, the easier it becomes to step to the page that fits what you intend to experience rather than staying trapped on the one your stress chose this morning. Start with bookmarking. In a clean moment, after a walk, after a good paragraph, right when the call went well, press save. Name the state in plain language, feel where it lives in the body, and mark a tiny sensory tag. The temperature of the mug, the weight of your feet on the floor, a 3-count exhale. That combination is a bookmark. Later, when minutes feel thin and brittle, recall the tag, breathe the count, and say the name. You're not forcing calm, you're selecting the page where calm already exists. Most people will call this a trick. You'll know it as a doorway. Use dilation when the moment matters. You can stretch a minute by widening your attention to include more sensory detail and fewer internal words. Eyes soften, jaw releases, breath lengthens. Time follows. Athletes call it the game slowing down. Musicians feel a bar expand when everyone locks to the same pulse. You don't need a stadium to do it. Set one intention, finish the sentence, listen until they feel heard, carry the box carefully, and let the body do the rest. Dilation isn't drama, it's accuracy. The more precisely you attend, the more time you seem to have because you've stopped wasting it on micromanaging thoughts. Use compression when you want momentum without frenzy. Compression is a coherent sprint. Choose a single action that belongs to your chosen version, clear all micro-interruptions, and set a short window, 10 or 20 minutes, where the only rule is no context switching. You'll be surprised how much reality rearranges when you move cleanly for even a small block. It isn't because time bowed to you, it's because you stopped shredding it. Subjectively focused attention lengthens the sense of time. Scattered attention shrinks it and makes you feel late even when you're on schedule. Choose how you relate to the minute and the minute changes. A few guardrails keep your relationship with time sane. Don't cough up your mornings to other people's alarms. Give your first hour to the version you're stabilizing. Keep bedtime boring and repeatable. The last 60 minutes shape tomorrow's page choice more than you think. Stop announcing busyness like a badge. "I'm fully booked" is often code for "I've lost the pen." Replace it with "I'll commit when I can hold it coherently," and mean it. You're allowed to renegotiate timings that require you to break yourself to keep them. Time respects honest boundaries. Navigation improves with small rituals. Before a significant moment, a pitch, a difficult talk, a creative block, step aside for 90 seconds, breathe 5 slow cycles, and run a tiny scene check. What's the most generous outcome here? What state matches that? And what is the smallest first line I can say or act I can take? You aren't scripting life. You're aligning a page and walking onto it. After the moment, close it. One sentence in a notebook, one glass of water, one walk around the block. Open, play, close. Loose ends are how timelines tangle. Memory will begin misbehaving in your favor. You'll remember something that hasn't happened yet with the familiarity of a place you once lived. Let future memory be information, not pressure. Write a short paragraph in present tense from that remembered future. The room you're in, the feeling in your chest, the sentence you just sent. Then do the smallest today action that makes the paragraph slightly truer. That's a clean page turn. If you try to leap the whole chapter, you'll rip the binding. What about clocks, calendars, and the world that refuses to bend? Keep them. The point isn't to ghost responsibilities, it's to choose the page on which you meet them. Honor the commitments you gave from a clear state, and renegotiate the ones you made from panic. Use appointments as anchors for coherence rather than as proof of worth. Protect one chunk daily for work that moves you and one chunk for nothing at all. Emptiness isn't a luxury, it's where new pages appear. Be careful with euphoria. Early temporal flexibility can feel intoxicating. Days stack, wins multiply, people echo your thoughts. Euphoria looks like flow but doesn't respect limits. It spends tomorrow's energy to look brilliant today. When the high hits, slow your exhale. Keep the same bedtime. Eat the same food. Take a dull, honest action that signals to your system that you're building a long road, not launching fireworks. Rhythm outlives mood. You'll also feel tempted to narrate your time shifts to everyone. Resist turning them into theater. The more you explain, the more you'll perform, and performance is the fastest way to lose the page. Show the results quietly. People trust clean outcomes more than they trust mystical claims. If someone asks what changed, you can say, "I started keeping my promises to myself and time started cooperating." It's true, and it keeps the room grounded. A simple daily loop helps. Choose a page in the morning. Work a small window with full attention. Take 2 minutes to feel the result land, and close the day by bookmarking one state you want tomorrow to inherit. That loop teaches your nervous system that time is collaborative. It isn't chasing you and you aren't chasing it. You're meeting in the middle on purpose. As you live this way, nights stop being off hours and become a laboratory. Dreams turn into reconnaissance, and intuition starts arriving clean, a beat ahead of events. We'll use that next. How to turn sleep into a briefing and how to translate hunches into actions that test the page you've chosen. Here's how to use the night as a laboratory. When the day closes and the pages of time stop behaving like a conveyor belt, sleep becomes the room where your selector can walk without the weight of your waking filters. You're not traveling anywhere. You're trying on versions. Dreams feel more real not because they predict destiny, but because they show you a life that is already available if you stabilize the state that matches it. Treat them like briefings. If you wake with the sense that you've been somewhere familiar and useful, you probably have. Your awareness visited a page you can now choose with your eyes open. Keep the ritual simple. An hour before bed, make the inputs quieter. Softer light, fewer opinions, slower breath. Put a notebook and pen within reach and write one clean prompt in present tense. Show me the version of me who handles this conversation with ease. Or, let me feel the state that completes this project cleanly. You're not asking for fireworks, you're requesting a state sample. Then give yourself 90 seconds of steady breathing. 5 slow counts in, 5 out, until the body stops bracing. Sleep receives what waking life keeps dropping when you try to wrestle outcomes into place. On waking, don't grab the phone or chase the alarm out of bed. Stay still for 30 seconds and let the scenes drift in. Catch 3 tags only: place, person, feeling, and write a 3-line note. What happened, what it felt like, what one small action belongs to it today. If a dream is slippery, don't wrestle. Take the feeling instead. Feelings are the ink. They print faster than plot. If nothing comes, copy your prompt from the night before and write the first sentence your hand wants to write. That alone will pull a thread. Not all dreams carry the same weight. Some are fear discharge. The nervous system offloads static from the day. They have jagged edges, loud colors, chase sequences, humiliation scenes. They are not prophecies, they are clearing cycles. Say thank you and move on. Some are rehearsal dreams. You practice a conversation, a performance, a route. Note the first line you spoke that felt clean and use it within 24 hours. Some are data dreams. Neutral tone, precise detail, ordinary rooms that carry unusual immediacy. There's no melodrama, just a calm, this belongs to you. Data dreams almost always hand you one action that would be entirely normal for the version you're selecting. Do that action and nothing theatrical. Stabilization loves ordinary courage. Symbols belong to you before they belong to any dictionary. If you dream of the sea, ask how your body reads it. Vast relief or swallowing risk. If a wolf appears, is it threat or companion? A house is often a self. Which room were you in and what was the light like? Translate function, not folklore. A bridge can be transition. A broken lift can be stalled ascent. A locked door might be a boundary you actually need. The point is to turn images into actions because action is how you stabilize selection. If the symbol won't decode, take the state it left you in and match it with one grounded step today. Make a rule that keeps you honest. Act within 24 hours or file it. Even a tiny act counts. Send the email, book the room, lay out the shoes, draft the paragraph. Move the money you already chose to move. Acting small and soon signals trust. The field echoes trust. Sit on a dream for a week and it curdles into fantasy. You'll start chasing the next sign instead of stabilizing the last state. The dream wasn't a command, it was a demonstration of compatibility. Match it and see. If the action feels too big, have it until it's undeniably doable, then do it once. Momentum is the proof your system believes you. Midday is where you prove you mean it. Set a 90-second check-in around lunch. Close your eyes, recall the morning's 3 tags, breathe 2 slow cycles and ask, what is the smallest next step that keeps me in that state? Do that and nothing else. The day will start folding around you because you're not oscillating between pages, you're holding one. If you miss the check-in, take it the next hour without apology. Consistency is coherence in motion. You'll notice hunches becoming cleaner, tiny flashes at the edges of conversations, a name rising before a call. A sense that the answer is in the 3rd email down, not the 1st. Treat hunches like probability scouts. Give them low-risk missions, 5-minute searches, 1 message, 1 detour. Score them. Over 2 weeks, your signal to noise improves because you proved you will test gently rather than bet the farm. Acting on small hunches quickly is what calibrates intuition. It stops being a mood and becomes a tool. Evidence note: people who jot even a few lines upon waking reliably increase dream recall and pattern coherence within days. Linking one small action to each captured dream accelerates this effect. Guard your ethics as your timing sharpens. Precognition invites responsibility. Knowing a beat ahead doesn't give you the right to engineer other people's outcomes. Ask consent before intervening. Bias your use of foresight toward care, safety, and better timing rather than manipulation. If you see a likely snag, you can shift your own participation, or you can prepare quietly. Leave people their pages. The cleanest timeline is the one that doesn't require you to force anyone else into your script. Avoid superstition. The point isn't to chase omens, but to recognize opportunities. Gently starve habits that flood the channel. Doom scrolls at midnight, late caffeine talk that winds the nervous system tight. Favor habits that thicken signal. Morning light, a walk, steady meals. 7 to 9 hours most nights. Bad sleep happens, don't dramatize it. Rest is part of selection. If you wake at 3 a.m., take 3 breaths. Write one line and let the rest of the night be dark and uneventful. Quiet nights are work too. As dreams turn into briefings and hunches resolve into decisions, something else clicks. The body itself becomes a clearer instrument. Your heart sets the metronome. Your breath conducts the room. Your field gets readable to animals, to electronics, to other people. That's coherence. Next, we'll ground this. How to stabilize your nervous system so the signal stays steady and the noise finally drops. There comes a moment in this shift when you stop trying to feel aligned and start noticing that alignment is your natural baseline when interference is removed. Not added, removed. What you're experiencing isn't you raising your vibration by layering on rituals, affirmations, or tweaks. It's your system clearing static so its natural frequency can hold without collapsing. The nervous system stops bracing. The heart field stabilizes, and something strange starts to happen. Animals respond. Electronics behave oddly, and people feel calmer or more clear around you without knowing why. That's electromagnetic coherence. And once it lands, reality starts mirroring you with uncanny precision. The science is already out there. Your heart emits the most powerful electromagnetic field in the body, measurable several feet from your skin. It fluctuates based on your emotional state. Coherent states like gratitude, steadiness, presence produce smooth sine wave-like rhythms in heart rate variability. Incoherent states, anxiety, panic, guilt, show jagged, irregular patterns. Your body isn't just reacting to your experience, it's broadcasting it. And when your broadcast is consistent, the field around you begins to rearrange. Events, timing, conversations, even tech. You felt it. Those days where everything clicks into place, people call you just as you think of them, and the weather seems to agree with your schedule. That's not random good luck. That's coherence stabilizing in the field. The cleaner your signal, the less force is required. You stop needing to push emails through, convince people to see your worth, or grind to make something work. You move, and space opens. That's how reality responds to coherence. It's like water parting for a steady current. To build it, start with the body. Coherence doesn't come from thinking better thoughts. It starts with slowing the physiological loop that says, I'm under threat. Start here. One hand on the chest, one on the belly. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Repeat for 3 minutes. Do it twice a day, not to calm down, but to tune in. It's a reset button that tells your body that we're safe. We can receive because coherence is fundamentally about receptivity. Not grabbing reality, but letting it flow into shape around the state you're holding. Nervous system regulation is coherence at the foundation. And no, you don't need to spend thousands on biohacking gear. Walk barefoot. Eat at consistent times. Speak one truth a day that you would normally avoid. Let your body move the way it wants to, shaking, stretching, humming. All of these are tuning mechanisms. Think less about fixing and more about freeing. Freeing the signal your body already knows how to send. Electronics often become early indicators. A phone glitching right before you send a message you know you shouldn't. A call dropping as you're about to betray your gut. Wi-Fi improving when you're in flow. Yes, this sounds fringe, but notice the patterns. Technology often mirrors tension, not because it's magical, but because your field becomes either signal or interference. Your presence is measurable. You don't need to explain it. Just observe it and get curious when the room feels off. It might not be you, but if it is, you'll feel the static first. Animals, especially dogs and horses, are coherence detectors. They don't care what words you say, they read the field. A skittish animal relaxing around you is one of the highest confirmations that your nervous system is broadcasting steady. Children do it too. They lean into people who are present, not performative. This is the power of non-verbal truth. People stop responding to your words and start responding to your frequency. Here's a test. Walk into a room with no agenda. No need to impress, no need to hide. Just hold your field steady. Slow breath, open chest, eyes soft. Observe who mirrors your calm, who speaks slower, who becomes clearer. This is influence without pressure, leadership without dominance, and it only lasts as long as you're not leaking signal to self-doubt or overcompensation. Protect your coherence like you would your physical health. Don't explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Don't marinate in media that hijacks your nervous system. Don't share your dreams with people who see them as threats. Coherence doesn't mean isolation, it means discernment. Not everything deserves your field. Not every room deserves your presence. And not every invitation is aligned with your frequency, even if it looks shiny on the surface. Your environment either amplifies or distorts your signal. Start noticing the rooms that give you field drag, that subtle fatigue, the tight jaw, the foggy mind. That's interference. You don't have to run, you just have to adjust your output. Lower your projection, center your breath, and do less. Sometimes the most coherent move is silence. Remember this, you're not trying to be impressive, you're trying to be stable. Coherence doesn't look loud. It looks like not flinching when someone tests you. It looks like saying no with no explanation. It looks like showing up on time for your own life, even when no one's watching. When you become coherent, reality stops testing your worth and starts reflecting your signal. People feel the difference. Opportunities arrive cleaner, and time begins to move in sync with you instead of against you. That's not magic. That's alignment. But here's the part people resist. To hold coherence, parts of you have to dissolve. The old identity, the one that chased, that defended, that over-explained can't come with you. That collapse, the loneliness, the confusion before the clarity, that's not failure, that's the cocoon. And in the next chapter, we'll step into the chrysalis itself, where who you thought you were breaks down so that a quantum-capable identity can assemble in its place. The breakdown isn't a breakdown. It's a rebuild, wearing the costume of collapse. When coherence stabilizes, it doesn't just upgrade your experience, it forces a reckoning with who you've been pretending to be. All the masks that kept you safe start to peel. The achiever who needed validation, the helper who kept everyone afloat while drowning inside, the rebel who only knew how to push, not receive. One by one, these identities start short-circuiting. You'll call it burnout, depression, confusion, isolation, but it's not the end. It's the chrysalis, a stage between versions. And if you're in it, it means you're ready to reorganize at the quantum level. Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar literally dissolves into a nutrient soup. It doesn't grow wings. It becomes unrecognizable goo before rebuilding. You're not becoming more of the old self. You're allowing the old self to melt, so the structure that fits the new signal can be assembled without contradiction. That's why it feels so disorienting. Your reference points, goals, roles, relationships stop making sense. You're not broken. You're being unmade on purpose. Let go of the expectation that transformation will feel graceful. It often looks like sleeping more than usual, crying for no reason, avoiding crowded spaces, or losing interest in what used to excite you. That's not regression. It's neurological recalibration. Old networks in the brain dissolve. Habits tied to outdated survival identities weaken. New circuits start lighting up, but they haven't built highways yet. You feel slow because you're rewiring. Respect the lag. This is where most people quit, not because they're not ready, but because they try to rebuild too soon. They panic and reach for anything familiar. Old relationships, old careers, old emotional patterns dressed up in new goals. Don't. Stay in the soup a little longer. When you're between stories, silence isn't failure. It's scaffolding. Let the version that needs to emerge build itself. Your job isn't to design it. It's to not interrupt it. What helps? Simplicity. Make your routines boring and stable. Same meal, same sleep time, same music, same walk. Complexity creates static. Let your nervous system have one corner of your life where it doesn't have to make choices. Find one anchoring practice you can keep each day. Even if it's just 3 minutes of breath, one handwritten line, or standing barefoot on the balcony. Not for progress, for presence. And here's the hard part. You'll be grieving. Not just people or paths, but versions of yourself. The one who did everything right but still wasn't seen. The one who got loved by pleasing. The one who kept going because they didn't know they were allowed to rest. Honor them. Write them a letter. Thank them. Then let them go. You can't bring everyone across the bridge, including the version of you that only knew how to survive. At this stage, you'll notice the external world testing you in odd ways. Old temptations wrapped in new clothes. Opportunities that are 80% aligned, but still ask you to shrink 20%. Conversations where you're baited to explain your change. Don't flinch. Tests aren't to punish, they're to confirm. Can you hold your new state without external permission? That's the passcode. Not intensity, not performance, just consistency. This is also where language begins to matter more. How you speak to yourself shapes the timeline you enter. I'm lost becomes I'm between structures. Nothing's working becomes something old is exiting and hasn't been replaced yet. Speak in ways that match where you're going, not where you've been. The field listens. Your body listens louder. Let your inner circle shift. The people who knew the caterpillar may not recognize the soup, and certainly won't understand the wings. That's okay. You're not betraying anyone by changing. You're simply refusing to anchor yourself to an identity that no longer holds your signal. You don't have to cut people off dramatically. Just stop shrinking to fit their memory of you. Let them meet you anew, or not at all. There will be quiet upgrades. You'll wake up one day and realize your decisions are cleaner. Your sleep is deeper. Your inner critic is quieter. Things that once triggered you now land and evaporate. This isn't numbness. It's clarity. Your system is no longer reacting to noise because it's resonating with signal. What used to be chaos is now just information. That's the mark of Chrysalis integration. And as that happens, something beautiful stirs. Desire returns, but not the frantic fill the void kind. Desire that feels like alignment, not addiction. You begin to want things that serve your signal, not your story. And the wants come without begging. They're clean. You ask and the field responds, not because you earned it, but because you matched it. That's when you know the quantum identity is here, not fully locked, but online. Before we move forward, you need to hear this. You didn't get left behind. You got pulled into the exact pocket of time you needed to become coherent, to dissolve the survival self, to build the signal body, to remember who you were before the noise. If you're here, it's because you're ready now. You just needed the structure to hold it. And the structure's here. You're holding it. You're becoming it. In the next chapter, we'll stop pushing and start tuning, because the final illusion is that you have to force reality into shape. You don't. You tune to it. The broadcast is already playing. You just have to drop the interference long enough to hear it clearly. The final illusion is the most convincing, that to change your life, you must force it. That outcomes require obsession. That ease is weakness. That flow means laziness. You've been sold the hustle. But here's the truth you feel but rarely hear. The quantum field responds not to effort, but to resonance. You don't push reality into shape. You tune to it. And that tuning is the real work. Precise, honest, and often invisible. Forcing is noise. It's what happens when the mind doesn't trust the signal, so it turns up the volume. More effort, more planning, more fixation. It feels productive, but it's distortion. It scatters your field. You end up chasing timelines that weren't meant for you simply because they were loud. Then you wonder why you're exhausted and underwhelmed, caught in loops of almosts and maybes. Allowing, by contrast, is exact. It's not passive, it's powerful. It's the state of the skilled radio operator who knows. If the message isn't clear, don't shout louder, dial cleaner. You pause, you breathe, you remove what's fuzzing the signal, and then, only then, you act. Not to prove, not to control, but to lock frequency, to confirm alignment. Let's get concrete. You want clarity about a next step, new city, new offer, new direction. Forcing looks like 12 hours of research, 6 consultations, a week of anxiety-laced pro-con lists. Allowing looks like 2 days of quiet attention to your body's response when you imagine each scenario. It looks like checking which version of you each path amplifies and choosing the one that stabilizes the self you're becoming, not the one you're scared of losing. You want love. Forcing looks like polishing your profile, watching your DMs, spiraling in self-doubt, projecting personas. Allowing looks like embodying the version of you who feels safe being seen now, not when you're perfect. It looks like choosing spaces where your nervous system doesn't have to flinch. It looks like being so coherent that the people meant to mirror your signal can find you, because you're no longer cloaked in desperation. And money? One of the most distorted signals in the collective field. Forcing money looks like overworking, undercharging, chasing clients that drain you. It's neediness wrapped in performance. Allowing wealth doesn't mean laziness. It means trusting your signal is valuable enough that the exchange will come when the channel is clean. It means you stop offering from fear and start creating from coherence. You say no to work that fragments you and yes to what makes your field louder without effort. The body knows the difference. Forcing feels tight, fast, brittle. Allowing feels clear, still charged. Forcing floods your system with static. Too much cortisol, shallow breath, jaw clench. Allowing slows your rhythm and sharpens your perception. Things land cleaner. Emails come at the right moment. People say yes without needing persuasion. Not because you manifested perfectly, but because you got out of your own way. You stopped blocking the broadcast. Here's the hardest part. Allowing will make you invisible to people addicted to chaos. They won't understand your calm. They'll poke you to react, bait you into drama, test your new tone. That's okay. Don't flinch. Don't explain. Coherence speaks in signal, not defense. Let your field be the message. There's a moment in every shift where nothing is happening. On the outside. That's the temptation point. You'll want to stir the pot just to feel motion. Don't. The seed doesn't sprout faster if you dig it up every morning to check its progress. Your signal needs stillness to lock. The field needs silence to echo. Let it. Allowing also changes your language. You stop speaking from lack. I hope this works. I need this to happen. What if it fails? You start speaking from observation. I'm tuning to clarity. I'm selecting ease. I'm holding the version that already chose me. This isn't delusion. It's alignment in action. Your words are now carriers of coherence. They magnetize outcomes not through wishful thinking, but through accurate broadcasting. Here's a micro practice. Next time you want to control something, a conversation, a response, a result, pause. Ask, what version of me is doing the asking? Then ask, what version would allow this to unfold with dignity, ease, and precision? Choose that one. Speak from that one. Move from that one. Watch what happens. The paradox of quantum coherence is this. You'll start doing less but seeing more, taking fewer actions but landing cleaner outcomes. Because what you're actually shifting isn't the external structure. It's the internal state that selects the structure. The new reality isn't built, it's revealed by the version of you that finally stopped trying to earn it and started letting it respond. And if you're still with us, you already feel the edge of this, which means you're ready for the real invitation. For those who want to go deeper, beyond what we can say here, we share transmissions like this weekly in our free newsletter. Some signals are too precise to drop on YouTube. For a limited time, when you sign up, you'll also receive a free copy of our ebook. Go to the link in the description and enter your email. One page could flip your entire lens. Don't miss it, because when your signal locks, life doesn't push back. In the final part, we'll zoom out. This isn't just about you anymore. Your coherence, your clarity, your transmission, it's part of something larger, a collective shift. And once you realize that, you'll never look at your role the same way again. This was never just about your personal growth. The shift that's happening in you is also happening through you on behalf of something larger. Because every time you lock into coherence, every time you tune instead of force, observe instead of react, you're sending out a signal, not metaphorically, literally. Your electromagnetic field carries that stability into the morphic field, the collective energetic blueprint we're all tuning into, knowingly or not. Think of it like a tuning fork. When one fork rings with clarity, others nearby start to hum in resonance. They don't need to understand it, study it, or believe it. Their structure simply picks up the signal. That's you now, not a seeker, but a broadcaster. And the quality of what you broadcast doesn't just shape your life, it shapes the available options for others, especially those who haven't yet found the words for what they're feeling. When your quantum jump key activates, it's not just for personal timelines. It's also a permission slip to others who are hovering at the edge of activation but doubting what they sense. You become proof that choosing differently isn't delusion. It's precision. That not reacting isn't weakness, it's power. That stillness isn't inaction, it's signal stability. And we need more of that, now more than ever. You've probably noticed it already. People asking why you seem calmer. Friends feeling safe around you without knowing why. Strangers opening up in one conversation. That's the ripple effect. You're not just changing. You're transmitting the new standard for what regulated, aware, sovereign presence looks like, without lecturing, without performing, just by being anchored. This is why your coherence matters even when no one's watching, especially then, because that's when you're seeding the grid. Each breath, each decision to select instead of spiral, adds clarity to a collective field full of static. The more people lock into their authentic frequency, the faster the noise dissolves. And the more probable this new reality becomes, not just for individuals, but for humanity. And that's the quiet revolution. Not fighting the old, not begging institutions to change, but becoming so tuned, so clean in your signal that the old systems can't map onto you anymore. That's when they collapse, not through protest, but through obsolescence. And in their place, systems, structures, communities built by coherent humans who remember, reality isn't fixed, it's selected. You are not here to escape this world. You're here to reshape it by choosing which version of it you feed with your attention, your actions, your resonance. You're not waiting for a savior. You're not trying to wake people up by yelling at them. You're just becoming impossible to ignore. That's the new leadership. That's the new transmission. It won't always be easy. There will be days where the old world tries to pull you back, where confusion feels louder than clarity, where you wonder if any of this is real. That's okay. You don't need to believe in every moment. You just need to return to the signal, over and over until it holds. And then one day, without trying, you hold it. For others, for your lineage, for the next version of this planet. And if you've made it this far, it means something in you already knows. You didn't need convincing. You needed remembering. The key was already turning. You just needed someone to say, you're not crazy, you're early. We go deeper into these transmissions, way deeper inside our free newsletter. If you're serious about stabilizing this shift and staying ahead of the noise, this is your place. And for now, when you join, you'll also receive a free copy of our ebook, one of the clearest blueprints for how this reality actually works. Go to the link in the description and enter your email. This is one frequency you don't want to miss. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it,"